Let's start with a short video.
Meet iTrade, the Israel Economic and Trade Mission to Kenya. The Israel Economic and Trade Mission to Kenya operates under the Foreign Trade Administration at Israel's Ministry of Economy. Our mission is to advance Israel's international trade policy by promoting trade, negotiating agreements, attracting
Barak, we've lost the audio.
identifying local business opportunities, promoting Israeli companies, and connecting them with regional partners. With over 50 missions worldwide, the FTA ensures Israel's economic interests are represented globally. In Nairobi, we support Israeli and Kenyan companies in identifying opportunities, organizing business delegations, promoting Israeli exports, and facilitating B2B and B2G meetings. Through these efforts, we aim to foster a strong economic relationship between Israel and Kenya, leveraging the strengths of both nations for mutual prosperity. Reach out to iTrade Kenya, and we will help you find the solution you're looking for in Israel. See you next year in Jerusalem, Haifa, or Tel Aviv.
So, good morning, everyone. That was a short video introduction about the Israel Economic and Trade Mission. We are based here at the Embassy of Israel in Kenya, working hand in hand with the embassy team, with Ambassador Michael Lotten. I would like to thank all of you for joining us here this morning, and to thank Aquaculture and the Israeli Innovation Institute for arranging this wonderful interaction and gathering. Let's hope that we will be able to generate great interaction and potential success stories and businesses between Israel and Kenya, and as a result of this morning session. Back to you, Joanna.
Thank you, Barak. Thank you, Joanna. So, hello, Kenya. Shalom, Israel. I'm Keren, the Community Manager at AquaculTech, and welcome to our webinar on Israel Aquaculture Technology, hosted with the Economic Trade Mission in Nairobi. Thank you for joining us, and today, Israeli company will share their innovative solution in aquaculture. I will show you a short video from Roni, the CEO of AquaculTech.
AquaculTech community is the Israeli biotechnology and aquaculture community, and it's a joint venture of the Israel Innovation Institute, the Ministry of Economy and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and Israel Innovation Authority. It's a platform to boost biotechnology and aquaculture, both locally and globally, to connect all the stakeholders and to help them with whatever they need, creating an innovation ecosystem that benefits from networking, knowledge sharing, and dealing with all challenges. We are at the community, 3 girls, myself, Keren Almuznino, the community manager, and Efrat Kadosh, the community development manager. Our missions for 2024 is to connect and map the ecosystem, the Israeli ecosystem, to make it accessible for the world to reach, map all the challenges, global challenges, promote the members globally, to create economic growth and food security. In the community today, we have about 160 companies that develop technologies for aquaculture industry. We have 25 research institutes and R&Ds in Israel. We have 32 in the community. We have much more in Israel, but in the community, we have 32 farmers that grow and produce. We have 12 novel alternatives companies. We have 11 seafood companies, 3 corals companies, 42 technology suppliers, and 27 algae companies. Here in Israel, we also have the Innovation, the Israeli Biotechnology and Aquaculture Innovation Center that's located in Eilat. It's the Israeli hub for development and accelerate new ideas for aquaculture. And I wish you all a very good day and productive meeting today. Thank you very much.
So as we know, aquaculture is the fastest growing agtech, and it's projected to reach above $300 billion by 2030. And we see it by not only by the incomes, but the involvements and the use per capita is growing even in a global use. Even though we see three issues that are, let's say, holding this aquafarming. The biggest issues is first of all is the constant growing costs of fish growth, which is causing a constant degradation in the margins. The second one is the environmental waste, which influences the environment, and the third is the welfare of the fish. So our mission was to tackle these three biggest issues. What we came up with is a system which grow something. Okay. Our solution is a standalone feeding manufacturer on site. We utilize the cutting edge of AI technology, and we grow the local microorganism. Therefore, we have the biggest three issues that we solve. The first one, we can cut half of the cost of growth of the fish. So this is the first and the major issue. The second one is the economical. We use the local natural organism. So we use them as local feeds, as live feed that we grow on site. And the third is because it's a more natural feed, it's healthier for the fish, and we saw it on our POC. Our technology on the right hand side is on site. We actually have a natural circle through one, which is first of all from the fish pond we grow algae, and then the microorganisms, and then we extract them back to the fish. On the back of the technology is the deep learning and decision making. The whole control center on the left side on the purple is actually what we have in the company, and this is our strength also in the marketing and also in the IP. So the customer value for our proposition is first of all the efficiency of the food is much more natural and much more with all the benefits. Cost efficiency and the environmental impact it's much better also. Our market on the global side of on the global view, the market is $200 billion of aquaculture. The aqua feed holds around 80 billion. So our direct portion of the market is estimated to be around 30. So the market is very attractive, and we see a very good future for the company and for this environment. I mean the economical environment also, not only the system on site. The competition, as we saw, it's the biggest companies of feed production, and also innovation that we've seen last in the market, that there's a very high involvement in finding natural solutions, and one of the biggest ones is growing fly larvas, for example. And we saw that in the last years, there's many of the companies are more and more involved in R&D and finding natural and good solutions. As we'll see, if anyone wants to elaborate, we can meet again. As the go-to-market strategies, as we see, is a B2B strategy. We are looking at the biggest companies in the market, mainly look on eastwards. But what we need now is a companion around our area, and Kenya looks very attractive for us. And we can do the first stages of the R&D, yes, here in Israel and in Kenya, and grow our company and further go on for the global market. The financial plan, you know, there's no use for elaborating right now. Our team is me, I'm the CEO. Our CTO is Asaf Golan, which is he is a computer scientist and a mathematician. He's highly experienced in AI and finding solutions. On the right side is Nitzan Golan, which is our co-founder, is on our biology desk. He's also more than 4 decades in that business, growing rotifers and all sorts of live feed for the fish. And it's a fantastic team, and we're really thrilled to look forward to do business and finding a good partner to grow. So this is our expectation for further on. We're looking for investment to do a 2-year R&D, and if it's relevant for any of anyone who hears it, I'll be happy to elaborate more. Roadmap: we're standing here on the next stage for a 2-year R&D, intensive 2-year R&D, and where our expectation is to launch in 2027. Again, as business model, I think that's about it. We can elaborate if it's relevant for anyone. We can contact. I'll be happy to contact. This is the POC. It shows that it works very fine. I did back 2 years ago. I fed with 25% in live food, and it worked very fine. And again, we can elaborate if it's relevant. This is my contact, and I'll be happy to get in touch if it's relevant to for anyone.
We are from the aquaculture business, from fish farming, open seas aquaculture, and growing seaweeds for many, many years, starting in 1997. The health that can be achieved from sea organisms and algae. Also, algae is a common name for micro and macroalgae. And macroalgae, as we grow, is a potential for many businesses worldwide. We have achieved and we gained many prizes for what we do. We're fully commercialized. We sell today materials. I explained before the differences between the traditional aquaculture on ropes and what we do in ponds. We are sustainable, and we are repeatable, and we're clean. And traditional aquaculture is less expensive. It is organic. We cannot be claimed organic. When you measure our output compared to output of seaweeds that were extracted on the regular way by the biggest company in the world, by milk, you can see that we have 10 times more actives. In this case, I show the essential amino acids compared to what they do, and we're 10 times more. In contrary to what other companies have, we keep all the aromatic materials. We not only claim, we prove that we have vitamins and other materials that are aromatic that will be lost if you heat the seaweed in any kind of process. So we have products that are on the market that treat inflammation in general. It can be for skin care, it can be for oral care, it can be for the hidden parts of the body, and we are very, very effective. We showed that on a clinical trial that we took in Europe 2023 and 2024. And it shows that not only that we're effective, the effectiveness grow when we continue with treatment of skin. So we are talking about aquaculture, but I'm talking first of all about the values and the output. So if I'm taking our technology and I want to feed animals, we have a priority, we have benefits to the market. To do that, we need to grow very large, because to do skincare, it's small volume. To make feeds and to make for humans and for animals, we need to grow very sustainable, very big. Here you can see one of our famous pictures that shows that in 21 days we can fix a person. He was 60 when he was wounded, and we accelerate the healing of the skin. So that's a short presentation, and I'm always available for more questions.
Tiran group is involved in preliminary in shipping business. We are ship agents, and from doing shipping agency, we moved also to do aquaculture. So we have Tiran Aquaculture, which is involved in two subjects. One is the freshwater prawn, Makobach Mosenbergi, which we invested in the patent IP of Ben Gurion University, and this is owned by Tiran, producing all male Makobach Mosenbergi. But I will concentrate here on our tilapia project, which again we have invested in near David in Israel, and we have purchased all their genetic lines. So what we're doing is we are implementing the aquaculture of tilapia in hatcheries. We are producing in hatcheries in Israel the tilapia lines, and I'll go through the lines we are doing. And at the same time, we have our own farms in China and Vietnam, where we implement this production of broodstock and production of fingerling for the market. Basically, we have, I will not go through all this presentation. These can be sent to anyone interested. We started with the red tilapia back in 2015, and even before. We are producing in our farm in China the red tilapia, which have a very unique color, as you can see here. And we are almost completed developing the hormone-free red tilapia. The red tilapia advantages are that it can be raised in freshwater, but we have also raised the red tilapia in saline water up to 30 ppt. We have the other line we are doing is the black tilapia. We have two lines. We have the black tilapia and the white tilapia. Both are very good growth speed, 100% all male with no hormone treatment. And we are culturing them now in China and Vietnam, where we have our hatchery in near David in Israel to continue developing the lines. And the last line we have is the marine tilapia, which is a full seawater tilapia. Sea tilapia can grow in seawater in cages in saline water of 50 up to 50 ppt, and is a fully marine fish. I will not go to all this. What we have done back in the middle of 2015 in China, we were producing the red tilapia, and we were processing in the processing factory, and then sending it as a whole round to European market with quite big quantities. But again, at the time, we were doing it with cooperation in China with farmers. We were very much limited in ability. Now we're concentrating on producing our broodstock in China and Vietnam, and selling fingerling in Vietnam and China mainly through the support of our Israeli hatchery near David. We are open to work in places in Africa. We have been approached by people from Kenya already with interest to have our fingerling sent to Kenya. And this is something we can do from our farms in Vietnam. We can sell, in the beginning, we can sell the fingerling of the black tilapia. Later on, we can also look into the red tilapia, but the sea tilapia is also available. And we will start marketing the sea tilapia in 2 or 3 months from now. I will just show you quickly some pictures to understand a little bit what we are doing. That was in China. Here's another one. You can see that. And then we have our short video of our present black tilapia or white tilapia in our China farm. It is under growing. This is the hybrid one, and we have also the broodstock in China as well. And then again, to show you a little bit of our broodstock of our freshwater pond. This is our freshwater pond in China. We raised to 300 grams. It's not economical to do it to 300 grams, but this is we did an experiment. And at the same time, you can see our freshwater pond again in same farm in China. We are able to have any kind of cooperation selling broodstock of the tilapia, the 3 lines, selling fingerling in the first stage, and giving some consultation if needed. So we are here to approach by anyone who is interested in cooperation with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to present it. Here I'm going to talk about the new products that we are introducing, which is a new oxygenation system for fish pond. We all understand the problem why oxygenation is essential for fish pond. Just in the highlights, it's for fish health and survival, it's contribute to growth and productivity, and it's very important in order to maintain the water quality in the fish pond. The current problems with oxygenation system is overcrowding, rapid declination of dissolved oxygen, especially at night, high organic loads that is generated in the pond, temperature fluctuation between the top level and the bottom level of the pond, difference in oxygenation enrichment between the bottom and the top. And one of the important things is very high operation cost. Aeration system, which are most commonly used for oxygenation, accounts for about 15 to 20% of the operation cost of growing fish. Current solution are aeration system, mechanical and diffused, oxygenation monitor system, and reducing stocking density in order to balance the oxygen. Drawbacks of current system, mechanical aerators, the main thing is high energy consumption, which lead to a high operation cost. The oxygen transfer is limited to the more higher level of the pond and not getting into deeper level. There is a lot of maintenance and wear that related to the system. In diffuse system, often we see clogging, which reducing effectiveness, Again, high initial installation costs, high power and energy consumption, and less effectiveness in large and shallow ponds. The solutions that we are introducing is fairly simple. It's based on aeration systems that is installed on the lower part of the pond, connected to a floating panel on the pond, which can hold also solar panels. And all the oxygenation is done in the bottom level of the pond, and then it's going up. It shows in initial trials that we did, it shows a very significant improvement in the oxygenation in the pond. We are working in collaboration with Professor Yoram Avilemelech, who is one of the leading scientists in this area in the world. If we look at the advantages of our system, first of all, the oxygen distribution is much better. The system is very energy efficient, significantly lower than all other systems. We can fit any pond size by installing as many units as needed. Because of better circulation in the pond, the water is cleared, and there is almost no maintenance involved in the system. If you want additional information, please contact me and I will be happy to provide it. Thank you.
So we'll talk a little bit about the challenges. So the main challenges are resilience, scale, and the diversity. When companies are trying to focus on restoration, we need to make sure that we have a biodiversity of corals, because now what's going on is that when we are talking about the corals, we want to have resilient corals with biodiversity and not just focus on the species that are growing fast and much easier than others. So we want to add a variety of corals, so the reefs would be full of resilient and different corals. Scale is also a problem, because the scale, we need a lot of space to grow the corals, and our ability to create a large capacity of corals is also very important for coral. So for coral enhancement, okay. So when we're trying to address the gap, we are talking about our innovative technologies for creating resilient corals. We are doing it in scalable solutions, in large-scale reef restoration and sustainable aquaculture. And we are prioritizing genetic diversity by growing more than 180 different types of corals. Corals have a very important role in blue carbon, in just holding the carbon in the sea. And this is very important because this is a very interesting part of research in this time. Okay, and if we want to talk about the importance, the economic impact of coral reefs, so we have to speak about, first of all, the coastal protection, because coral reefs play a significant role in protecting the shorelines from wave energy and erosion. When we talk about tourism and recreation, you all know that places with live coral reefs attract many tourists and create a lot of jobs. So this is very important. Also in the medicine field, many of the new cancer treatments are based on molecules and particles that are made from corals. So this is also important in this research. And of course, coral reefs are important because they hold most of the fish as the hotspot for reef fish nurseries. So it is important for our food supply. So VCoral's mission is to become the world's leading supplier of cultivated corals and coral-related technologies. Our facility is located in Eilat by the coast of the Red Sea. As you can see, we show here some of our growing tanks. And this is our technology of creating closed systems with the ability to grow the corals extremely fast. When I say extremely fast, it's 50 times faster than in nature. And this is really impressive. Here you can see that there's a small piece of coral, and you can see its growth. VCorals technology is based on the three main parts. First of all is the supercorals. We are collecting coral larvae and then combine it together in a process in our laboratories. Basically, the main idea is to create strong and resilient corals by connecting a few larvae together, a few individual corals, so they can receive all the necessary and strong characters of each of the corals. The biodiversity booster, it's what I mentioned, that we're growing over 180 different species of corals. And this is important because we want the coral reefs to be filled with diverse corals, and we are accelerating growth in our optimized water conditions, and we grow them as fast as 50 times faster than in nature. We are working in a project from Ocean Citizen by Horizon, which is happening in Tenerife. It's one of the most important regeneration projects taking place in the world right now. And the main point is that as these projects can be duplicated everywhere around the world, that's why we wanted to present our company here in this webinar. I'll also say that we are our key importance is in education, and it's very important for us to raise the awareness for younger generation and other people to protect the coral reefs. And the last thing I want to say that also we're producing, except for the technology for the corals enhancement and the restoration, we're also producing products that we are testing and working with them ourselves in our coral nurseries farm. And we are actually the first to invent growing corals on the flexible surfaces. So this is some of the products that we are working at our farm, and we're also selling these products for other clients to work with, especially in the regeneration projects like in Tenerife. And that's just a little bit about VCorals. If you have any additional questions, you can reach me, and I can send a presentation to whoever is interested. So thank you so much. And
my name is Amit, and I'm working today in the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in Israel. And I'm not here to sell a technology, but to promote a concept that I believe that might be very beneficial for Kenya and other African countries. Not only Kenya, but I think Kenya is a great candidate for this concept. And this is actually what I've been doing in my master's and PhD while I was a student at Amir Sagi's laboratory in Ben Gurion University. So I would like to talk a few minutes about the concept of aquaculture of Monosex freshwater prawns in Africa as a sustainable solution for Bilharzia biocontrol. First, I will start explaining what is Bilharzia schistosomiasis. Probably not everybody are aware of this disease, which is caused by a parasitic worm. It looks like this under a microscope. And it is spread in many parts of the world, but especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Even though we see here China and South America, the rates of infection over there are much lower than in Africa. And it is today considered to have more than 250 million infected people. Unfortunately, most of them are school-age children and a lot of women as well. And above 90% of the infected people are in Africa, as I said before, and specifically in Kenya. According to the World Health Organization, there are more than 10 million people at risk. And the current solution for this disease is mostly mass drug administration. The drug is being distributed in many parts, but not in a sufficient way. And the most problematic thing about this drug is that it's a not sustainable solution, because once you get infected, and I'll explain now very briefly how it works, you must take the drug every couple of months, and this is not realistic. Basically, this disease, as I said, is caused by a worm that needs two hosts to survive and to thrive. One of them would be a human in our case. It can be another mammal as well. But when people do the urine in water, in fresh water, either if it is lakes or rivers, they release eggs, of course, infected people. They release eggs into the water, the eggs hatch into mericidium, and they enter a freshwater snail, which is the intermediate host of this disease. Inside the snail, the worm is doing asexual reproduction, and actually the snail becomes like a factory of Cercaria, which is the other life stage of this worm, and the Cercaria are being released in hundreds and thousands from a single snail to the water, and then they enter the next human just through the skin. It's not like you need to drink the water or anything. If you enter infected water, you are most likely to get a worm inside your body, and then this worm, once it enters your body, it goes through the blood vein to the kidneys or to the intestine, and then it reproduces in a sexual way, and then the problem that are caused in the human that cut this worm are very, very wide, and you can get dozens of symptoms out of it. But most of the people that get this worm, they live with it for a long time. I will not go into explaining deeper what bilharzia is. We can do a whole lecture about this. I want to go directly to the solution that I'm proposing. And first of all, why am I talking about prawns, and why monosex prawns? So the motivation to create monosex prawns was not for biocontrol, it was for aquaculture. As we saw Haim Avioz earlier talking about the all-male population, which is also developed in the same laboratory. If we look about the species of freshwater prawns that are grown in Asia for aquaculture, we can see a huge difference between males and females. And between the males, we can see that there are three different types. The large one that we saw in the pictures that Haim showed before, and we have and if we look about the females, we see they grow in a completely different way, in a uniform, medium-sized females, and these are different technologies and different products, basically. And here I would explain very briefly how it works in this crustacean world, in the macrobrachium world. I would talk specifically about these technologies that were developed in the lab. So if we're thinking about the fertilization point, which is the decision point, if you get a male or a female, depends on the genotype of the animal. There are about 55 days until we get to the decision point, while we get if it will become a male or a female. And if this hormone, this IAG hormone, is active because it is genetically a male, you will get a male. However, if the hormone is not there and the switch is off, you will not get this hormone, and then it will become a female. And upon this revelation, upon this understanding, the technologies to create all male and all female were produced in the laboratory. very briefly about how it's done. Again, this is a male which is homozygote and a female which is heterozygote. This is relevant for this species and a few other species, not all crustaceans. And when they cross, a male and a female, you would get a 1-to-1 sex ratio, 50-50. But if you create a super female, which was done in the laboratory and is also commercialized in other parts of the world, you can get an all-female population. And the advantages of using monosex for biocontrol is that you can use it in non-endemic areas without the concern of becoming an invasive species. And again, the concept is to break the cycle of the parasitic trematodes by adding prawns. Prawns were found, specifically Macrobrachium rosenbergi, were found as very effective predators over freshwater snails. Here we can see a prawn catching a snail. We have some additional videos that show how efficient these prawns are as predators of freshwater snails. And the snails, as I said before, are the vectors of this disease. Here another all those small dots are very, very small snails that were hatched into the water a couple of minutes before this prawn arrives. This is a relatively small prawn, maybe 3 or 4 grams. And we can see how efficient the prawn is in eliminating freshwater snails. And we have done it in aquaculture ponds, as we can see here. And we would like to try this concept also in water bodies where people are going into the water and being infected by Bilharzia. And in order to do that, we'll need to do a full-scale experiment with enough prawns to prey upon the snails. And for that, once we get there, I stress it here in red because I know it might be a challenge to get, but you need to have a permit to import the prawns into the target country. And moreover, our understanding is that this solution as a biocontrol solution alone is not sustainable. It's not economic to do it only for biocontrol. This must be coupled with aquaculture. And this is what I'm trying to explain here, that the suggestion is to make a project that will have, on one hand, an aquaculture facilities to grow freshwater prawn that can be grown also together with tilapia, maybe not in cages in the sea, but it can be in earth ponds, be grown in a polyculture with the tilapia. And on the other hand, it will be used for the biocontrol. And of course, in order to do that, we are seeking for partners. We need partners from the government, from the Ministry of Health, Environment, Agriculture, maybe other parts of the government I'm not aware of. We would like to have partners from research institutes in Kenya, NGOs that are working in the relevant field, and of course, private sector is very important to make this dream come true. That's it. I'm of course available for any questions, and thank you all for your listening.
So now we'll move on to the Q&A session. I know we're dangerously close to lunch hour, so please bear with us. We're almost finishing. After the Q&A session, we'll do breakout rooms. So basically, each Israeli company will be in one breakout room, and then we'll add the people who wanted to meet the specific company in each of these breakout rooms, and then you can have a joint meeting together. So without further ado, I'll start with Nicholas Kagundu. Feel free to unmute yourself. You can share any questions you have, and then we'll move on to the next question. Yes, you are.
Hello. All right. Thank you, Joanne. And first, I want to appreciate the contributions from the presenters from the Israel companies, and I also want to appreciate the participants. I am actually glad that we have a good number of participants who are mainly drawn from various parts of the country, and some are in hatcheries, doing hatcheries, others are doing market-sized or table-sized fish farming, And others are just enthusiastic farmers who would want to, invest or, get to do business in the fish farming or in aquaculture. So I want to appreciate that as a government, we would want to support or facilitate collaborations between our partners. And I have just been taking note of, how, I mean, from the presentations, there are those suggestions of, like some said, we want permits, and we are looking at where we have demand for the technologies and where government can actually facilitate, that kind of a partnership or a collaboration. So I'll pick up that later on. But first, let me say that I'm glad. I forgot to tell participants or to introduce myself. I work at the State Department of Fisheries and Blue Economy as an assistant director, and I'm glad that I have been able to follow these presentations. So just a quick one. There are things I picked up briefly. I know we have a few minutes. So there are a few interests I had. One was from Tiran. There is a presentation from Haim. There was, in your presentation, there was something you mentioned about that Tiran can serve as a marketing arm. And I'm thinking this in line of how we unlock the aquaculture potential in Kenya so that the farmers can be able to invest in an economically viable or commercially viable business enterprise. And one of the challenges we have, apart from the issues of production where fish is not able to grow to the table size, there are those very efficient farmers who can actually adopt the technologies. But the issue of the market, and I know previously I did a presentation on what we are doing in Kenya with the Kenya Fish Marketing Authority, because I've been offering support to that agency so that it can be stable enough or it can have, the capacity to market Kenyan fish, either locally and abroad out there. So I would wish to carry out, get to engage further so that, for example, if a farmer was able to adopt these technologies and it is doing well, because again, the climatic conditions in Kenya are quite favorable. And how can we corroborate in terms of Tiran being able to reach other markets? Would you explore the options of contract farming and so on? So that is something I would want to pose. Then the next one was on, I had a lot of interest on the oxygenation in fish ponds. That was a presentation from Alex. One of the main challenges that we have had in Kenya in fish production or fish farming is basically the issue of oxygenation and feeds. And I've seen there are very specific companies here that can actually address. In fact, I didn't know that creatine is from Israel. I don't know whether that is true. I saw it in the presentation. And our farmers are going to that extent. Most of, I have been in extension, so I can attest that those farmers who have been able to do very well are those that probably have been using some of the things like from creatine, because when they try other produce or other feeds, you find that we have challenges and people are still trying. But the serious farmers I've seen in Kenya, those with big farms, are actually using creatine and they're doing well. So we can address the issue of oxygenation, and especially using low-cost energy, solar energy. I would be very much interested to carry on this conversation, and I'll be doing some brief later on with the executive on this issue. So I would wish to engage further on that so that we can see how fish farming can be done in those arid areas. I mean, in Kenya solar, I know Israel is also, as those semi-arid or desert conditions, and they are doing it very well. So Kenya has similarly areas that are well, supplied with solar throughout the day, and we can adopt that technology. And finally, I have taken note of the other issue on the control bilharzia. And I just wanted to confirm that we have several regions where we have rice pads, the rice growing areas like in central Kenya, in western Kenya, in Ahiro, where we have a lot of snails, which have actually become a hazard. I would also wish to carry on that conversation and we see, so that as our farmers listen with us, we can see where we can establish a link. And finally, I know sometimes in Kenya, investors are not quick to invest in fish farming because someone is not sure whether they will recap their investment. They will not be able to, get returns. So we would want to embrace some of these technologies so that we can assure our farmers that this is a viable technology. And there's a ratio that dealt with range tilapia, black tilapia. And I would want to know, maybe afterwards in the question and answer section, what is the size of fish that you get in terms of weight, so that our farmers can look at it. And therefore, when we are saying, can we get these fingerlings brought to us? If the government would want to pursue, introducing a certain strain or breed of tilapia, then we'll be able to assure them that this tilapia goes maybe beyond half a kg. And finally, the one who talked about the Monosex tilapia. I'm mentioning this, Joanne, because our farmers have been doing fish farming. I am sure these are the issues I've encountered in the field. We do Monosex tilapia in Kenya. Some of the challenges we have, Andy, is that we use hormones. So if we have a technology that can be using, what we call a more safe, technology that does not use hormones, then I'll be glad to pursue that line. And I'm saying that because I've been the chair of the Food Safety Forum. So I have been able to engage, and we would want to assure even the local market and the external market that we can do fish that is not, that is actually drug-free. So thank you so much, participants. I would be glad also to catch up if there are questions, and I will engage with Joanne. I would probably wish to get those presentations so that I can do a package for briefing our executive, and therefore I look forward now to a higher level engagement after this meeting.
Sorry, Nicholas, you went mute. So thank you so much for the questions. We will share the presentations after the webinar. So I guess we can start with Haim. You can unmute yourself and maybe share your comments to the questions raised.
Technologies or simple to use technologies. Thank you so much, and back to you, Joanne.
Okay, great. Sorry, I wasn't hearing you. So now we can move forward to Haim. You can start by answering the first questions that Nicholas raised. And of course, just a note, we will share the presentations as Nicholas has requested after the webinar.
We have our hatcheries in China and Vietnam, but the main production hatchery is in Israel, in Nir David. We have a team of experts, our own experts, employed by Tiran, that can give technical support. Once we sell our fingerling of tilapia or the broodstock of our tilapia, we will follow up with some technology support or technical support to whoever require. Of course, that will be not for free. We need to pay for the consultancy of our experts. We have, as I said, we have our black tilapia in place for 100% all male with no hormone treatment. We have the broodstock now produced also in Vietnam, and from there we will be able to ship to other places in the world, Kenya for sure, and other places. Same goes to the sea tilapia and the red tilapia. All the three species can be best for us will be done from our farm in Vietnam. We have our farm in China, but China is with very, very big demand for our tilapia, so we will not be able to concentrate on the export from China, but Vietnam will be there, and can be also supported by our Israeli hatchery, but Israeli hatchery near David is small, only to continue the R&D of our tilapia line.
Okay, thank you, Haim. I'll move to Alex. You can maybe also give a response to his question. And I'll also add to you one more that was in the chat. Someone had asked whether the system can be used in effective fish cages during lake water upwelling, lake turnover when oxygen levels drops, and what the costs of your devices in USD are.
Yes, there is no reason that the system cannot be used in cages. As I said, the system is very scalable and very adaptable. We can adapt it to any size of pond. Regarding costing, I will deliver this information directly to the people who is interested.
Thank you. We had another question for Tiran. Someone had asked whether these types of tilapia can do well in Kenya. Maybe if you know.
Hi, I'm Eyal. I'm Haim's son, also working, of course, in Tiran. Yes, tilapia can be very good in Kenya. in environmental area for a tropical country is excellent for tilapia. And the advantage that we are working with genetic lines, it means that for the local farmers, doesn't matter if they are small households or big farms, they are getting better lines, which mean in the same system they have, small or big, doesn't matter, they will have a better output, better yield, and of course, what the question about hormones, so also non-hormone. So they can work with the same, you know, exactly same farms they have at the moment, and just have better results for the grow out.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe we'll answer the rest of the questions in the breakout rooms. So for now, I'd like us to take the next 10 minutes to hold our B2B sessions. I've assigned everyone to a specific breakout room, but I've allowed you to be able to move from one breakout room to another, depending on the company that is of interest to you. So we'll do this for 10 minutes. You can start with a quick round of introduction, and then you can begin having your B2B engagement. So thank you. Thank you very much for participating in the webinar. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, the AquaculTech community is here to answer and to collaborate.